The Whispers, in Ashwood. Motel, they told me never to stay overnight at the Ashwood Motel. But when my car broke down on the highway last night, I didn't have a choice. The neon sign buzzed weakly, flickering red against the misty night air. Half the letters didn't even work, it just read Wood Malt. The parking lot was empty. Too empty. I walked into the lobby. The bell at the desk was cracked, its little clapper missing, but before I could call out, the manager appeared. He didn't speak, didn't smile, just slid a key across the counter. Room 6. I asked if there was food nearby. He just shook his head slowly and pointed at the long hallway. Wait. Carpet reeked of mildew, the wallpaper peeled like old skin, and as I walked, I realized something strange. Every door was numbered 6, not 1, not 2, not 3, just 6. I unlocked mine, the key grinding against rust inside the lock. The room was small, single bed, broken lamp, a TV that looked older than me. I collapsed on the bed, exhausted, but as soon as I closed my eyes, I heard it whispering, at first faint, like wind sneaking under the door, but then clearer. Dozens of voices, men, women, children, all overlapping, all whispering the same thing. Don't sleep in room 6. I sat up, terrified, staring into the dark. The lamp flickered once, twice, then went dead. Only the red neon light seeped through the window, but when I looked, the sign outside wasn't there anymore. Instead, pressed against the glass, was a pale face, hollow eyes, a cracked smile that stretched impossibly wide. I stumbled back, tripping over the bed. When I looked again, the window was empty. My chest pounded. I grabbed my phone for light, but the battery was at 6%, even though it had been fully charged when I checked. The whispers grew louder. Now they weren't just in the walls, they were in my head. Room 6. Room 6. Room 6. Suddenly the bathroom door creaked open on its own. The mirror inside caught my eye, but it wasn't reflecting me. It showed the bed. And on the bed was someone lying there. Someone with my face. Their eyes snapped open, blood red, and they smiled. The bathroom light flickered and burst, sending sparks across the floor. I staggered back into the hallway, desperate to escape, but the hallway wasn't the same. It stretched on forever. Every door still marked 6, and behind each door, I could hear someone breathing, low, heavy, like they were waiting for me. I ran, I don't know for how long, but no matter where I turned, every hallway looked the same. Every number was 6. Then out of the silence, I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, following me. I glanced back and saw shadows. Dozens of them, all crawling out from under the doors, all whispering. I tried every door, every handle, but each one was locked until finally one opened. I burst inside and froze. It wasn't another room, it was the lobby. The manager was there, but his face had changed. Skin sagged from his bones, eyes hollow, pits of black. He leaned across the desk and whispered, "You should have left when you had the chance. Nobody checks out of room 6. The lights flickered, the walls pulsed like breathing skin, and the last thing I saw before everything went black was my own face, grinning back at me from behind the counter.
The Forgotten Church. They say some places should never be visited at night. But last night, I made that mistake. The road was empty, swallowed by fog, when I saw it. A broken sign, half buried in weeds, pointing toward something called St. Hallow's Church. I don't know why, but something pulled me there. The church was massive but ruined. The windows were shattered, the wood was blackened as if fire had licked it decades ago. And yet, the heavy wooden doors stood wide open. I stepped inside. The silence hit me harder than the cold. It wasn't empty silence. It was the kind that listens. Pews lined the center aisle, covered in dust, thick enough to choke on. But someone had been there recently. I saw footprints in the dust, bare feet, small, like a child's. I followed them, my heart hammering, until they stopped at the altar. That's when I noticed the Bible. Old, with cracked leather, sitting neatly in the center. I reached for it. The second my fingers touched it, every candle in the church lit at once. The flames burned tall and white. Not orange, white. The shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, long and sharp. And then I heard it. A hymn. But there was no one there. Voices echoed, singing in perfect harmony, though not a single soul was in the pews. The song wasn't in any language I knew. It was low, haunting, like a funeral march slowed down. I stumbled back, dropping the Bible. The candles flickered. Then, all at once, they went out. I was in total darkness. And yet, the singing continued, only now it was closer. I turned, trying to find the exit, but the doors were gone. The wall was solid stone. I staggered toward the stained glass windows, hoping to break one open. But what I saw froze me. The glass no longer showed saints or angels. It showed me, my reflection, dozens of times, each pane with my face staring back, distorted, mouths twisted into screams. I backed away, heart racing when I saw movement at the altar. Something was standing there, tall, cloaked in black, its head bent low as if in prayer. Then, it raised its face. It had no features, only skin stretched tight where eyes, nose, and mouth should have been. But still, I heard it breathing, loud, wet, hungry. I ran, through the pews, through the endless dark. But no matter where I turned, I kept ending up at the altar. The faceless figure never moved. It just waited. And then, finally, it spoke. Not with a mouth, but inside my head. Words that crawled like insects in my skull. You shouldn't have come. Now you belong to us. The church shook violently. The pews splintered, flying toward me like knives. I threw myself to the ground, covering my head, screaming. When I looked up again, the figure was gone. The candles were lit, and the Bible was back in its place. But it wasn't closed anymore. It was open. And on the yellowed pages, fresh words had appeared, written in black ink, in handwriting that looked exactly like mine. It said, "I entered the forgotten church, and I will never leave." The abandoned highway. Last night, while driving back home, I took the old highway that cuts through the forest. It was supposed to save me 30 minutes, but no one had warned me that the road has a history. Dark, twisted, and almost erased from memory. The highway was silent, with no other cars in sight. Only the tall trees pressed against the road, leaning in like they were listening. The further I drove, the thicker the fog became. My headlights cut only a small path ahead, leaving the rest of the world swallowed in darkness. At first I thought the eerie silence was peaceful. But then I realized there were no sounds at all. No crickets, no owls, just the hum of my car engine. Suddenly I saw it, an old, broken-down gas station on the side of the road. The boards on the windows looked rotten, the sign swung with the wind, and yet a faint light flickered inside. Curiosity dragged me closer. I pulled over, stepped out, and instantly felt the air turn colder. My phone lost signal the second I crossed the gas station fence. Inside, the shelves were still lined with dusty cans of food and bottles, like time had frozen years ago. But then, I heard it. A soft knock. From the back room. I called out, but no one answered. The knock grew louder, harder, almost desperate. Against my better judgment, I opened the door to the back room. What I saw still burns in my mind. The room was filled with photographs, hundreds of them pinned to the walls. Every single photo was of travelers, people like me, standing outside their cars on this very road. Some looked recent, some looked decades old. But in every picture, there was something wrong. A shadow, a figure, standing behind them. I turned around to leave, but the door slammed shut. The knock returned, this time right behind me. I froze. Slowly, I looked over my shoulder. There was a man, or something that looked like a man. His face was pale, stretched too thin, his eyes dark holes that seemed endless. He whispered only one word. Stay. The lights went out. I don't remember running. I don't remember how I got back to my car. But when I finally made it home, I saw something taped to my windshield. It was a photograph of me, taken last night, standing outside my car, with that same shadow behind me. And now, I keep hearing that knock, even here, even at home.